Hello, everybody. Good morning to all of you guys, or good evening, wherever you are around the world. Do me a favor, okay? Leave a comment down below. What country are you guys from around the world, okay? This is not a country I'm about to say, but I'm originally from Iowa. That is actually a state in the United States that a lot of people don't know actually exists. I hope you guys are all enjoying your day because we got a nice and spicy one, per usual here for CS News. So let's hop right into yesterday, what we talked about, because it will be relevant today, that being Team ODDIK versus Team G2. We talked about the scout buying bug, which you guys said is not really a bug. It's more so just something that needs to be fixed, okay? It was a bit of an abuse out there from Team ODDIK, which I don't think will be allowed very long in the future, but during PGL Astana, they had this little scout buying instance versus G2 where they bought a scout to take a shot mid and then dropped it back to a teammate who was still staying in spawn and then refunded it instead. Something that apparently some people have seen. I had not seen this in official competition quite yet, but a lot of people were like, that's very cool, and some people were like, that should not be allowed.
Strong defense at the bomb site itself after all that chaos in the initial round. 2-0. Double scout investment that they pass back after a shot and sell back. Okay. Yeah. That's kind of cool. I think that's the first time I've seen that. Is that the first time you've seen that?
What, taking a shot and selling it? You shouldn't be able to do that.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's what they just did. I'm like 99 to 100% sure that's what they just did.
Shoot. You can't sell it.
I don't know.
Okay.
They passed it off to a player, AFK and Spawn, who hadn't shot it.
That is... If that's a thing...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. We can watch it all back again, but...
And that is relevant today because according to one of the players, it was PGL who had actually allowed that, but according to some other people, it was not allowed. So we await to see if there will be any statement from PGL, any statement from Valve on this being allowed for the future, which, in all honesty, I kind of see both sides. I see it being used as a cool tactic because even time-wise, to do this, it is to take a little bit of a risk and can only be done probably in certain situations, certain scenarios on certain maps. And so I enjoy the creativity of it, but I don't think you should be allowed to fire a weapon and then sell that weapon back. That's just my own personal opinion. I don't know what you guys think. I know some of you were split about this, and so too was a G2 assistant coach. Now, I'm not going after anyone. I'm just simply sharing public tweets here. And this one I don't think was well thought out. Because if you know, when it comes to G2 and actual bugs, you shouldn't be calling out any other teams. And I don't think this is the reason why G2 is losing to ODDIK, okay? At the end of the day. But here's what the assistant coach for G2 had to say. Stating, just a reminder, Valve Update 6.06, players can now refund any purchase made in the same round if it hasn't been used. A clarification there, has not been used. Everyone on our team knew about this bug, but for obvious reasons, we chose not to abuse it. It would not have changed the outcome of the game. GG. And so people wondering, why call this out, right? Because it didn't change the outcome of the game, and we're talking about bug abuse, which... Again, if you know, you know. And the player who, of course, was for ODDIK, he replied to this and eventually ratioed that assistant coach, saying, but for obvious reasons, we chose not to abuse it. But don't act like others are dumb. Blah, 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 blah. If you haven't used a tip that's been in the game for 2 years and was allowed in the championship, it's not my fault. What were you to call out M80 in the past? Stop with the BS. You guys won the map. Because if you somehow don't remember, one of the biggest controversies for a short period of time, but because it was G2 and M80, I would say they kind of skirted a little bit. That was my thoughts back then. If it was other teams or other players, it would have been more heavily criticized. And eventually, I think it was patched shortly after all this fiasco. The M80 smoke bug. So for a G2 assistant coach to be like, oh, we knew about this bug, we didn't use it. Dude, read the room. That's all I had to say. Like, I don't mean offense to either side here. I don't have a hand in this debate. I just find it funny. Like, read the room, okay? When it comes to a history of G2 CS and bug abuse, you maybe... It sounds a bit rich when you're calling out other teams who are doing, again, an unintended thing. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a bug. I did call it a bug yesterday, but, you know, people are finicky about those words. And so this caused a huge back and forth. A lot of people in his replies saying, bro, What are you talking about, man? A little hypocritical of G2's past. And so now we have ODDIK, who has done this scout buying abuse, whatever you shall call it, and we'll see what the ruling is on this in the future. I don't think it has to be that big of a deal, but it is a funny little story and a way for us to bring up the OG smoke bug. So what do you guys think about the ODDIK scout buying situation? You want to know what I think, guys? You want to know what I think about the superior weapon to the scout? Let's talk about the op, okay? This is what you know what? It was all laughs, all right? It was all laughs until M80 went 0-3 at PGL Astana. Their CEO not very happy with their performance, okay? We're talking about the op because it's not too often you see a double team kill in an official tournament, but why not do it for North America, right? Thank you, M80.
They've done a great job of making this expensive.
They're dead. Oh, team kill. Double team kill.
Slacks with a huge 3K there. That's going to have a lot of impact. He has just ruined his team's money.
Yeah, exactly.
Putting into this follow-up.
How do you double team kill? One.
Well, that one's fair enough. I mean,
okay, fair enough. Yeah, like, I'll give it to him. I'll give it to him. At least they can laugh it off.
And as much as I want to make fun of this being an NA thing, I mean, I almost can understand the pass on at least one of these, all right? Especially the second shot, but at least one of these gets the pass. So I would almost say this is a solo team kill and then a funny one just coincidental. That it was. I'm going to give him the pass because I'm a fellow American, but what did you guys think about that play? Have you ever been in a situation like that? But I can guarantee you one thing. I have never seen that in an official. And then, of course, the 3-kill commentary, that was great. That was great, Ed. But also some huge news out there for all you Budapest fans. We now have our second CS2 major of the year being announced before our first is even being played, which I love that, man. Give some teams some heads up of where they're going to be going, and it will be Budapest with the return of the OG, that being Starladder. And one interesting tidbit for this, they'll be opening the doors from the very start of stage 1 till the very end of the major. We are talking dang near 4 weeks of competition. I think like 3.5 weeks of competition. And so they will be hosting this, $1.25 million on the line over in good old Budapest, which is super exciting. So I'm just going to go and book out 8 weeks over there. I don't even know where that is or how I get there, especially from a place like Iowa. We don't have airports that operate that far. So I'm going to go spend 8 weeks covering them, and I will not be there. I cannot afford to be there, but I will be watching remotely from my room, and it's super exciting to see Starladder back in the game, and we'll see how those stickers look, which at this point in time, stickers are dead to me, but we won't get into that conversation. And very lastly, for all of you guys, just some rumors out there brought to us by Solution. Is some teams out there interested in good old Broky. Yes, he is currently on the FaZe bench, set to be replaced by Simple for the Austin Major. Has had a great time there, maybe not as of late for FaZe, but you cannot deny the ceiling this guy had, a performance he had eventually with his long tenure with FaZe Clan, and maybe Heroic with interest in Broky. The rumored replacement would be him replacing Sun Pius, and so people going back and forth in this Heroic roster. A Heroic roster who has sold a number of players, but is still performing pretty well at the A-tier events they've been partaking in. So I guess good for them, maybe spending some of that dough to get someone like Broky. And this actually has sparked a lot more questions, not on the Broky move itself. People saying, okay, does anyone want Dexter? All right, Dexter won the last tournament he played with Falcons. Does anyone, I mean, and he also showcased a great personality in all the interviews, how thankful he was to all of his teammates and everything. It was incredible. So does anyone want Dexter? But Heroic Broky is now on the table as a rumor out there. What do you guys think about that potential trade in the making? But till next time, hope you guys all enjoy. Probably going to see you in a couple of days, and then I will be traveling this weekend, so it'll going to be a couple days off, but I will be back with a force, okay? We've had 500 new coffee drinkers join this week, and that makes me happy. Thank you all for watching and for being here. I'll see you guys back here sometime soon. Take care, y'all. Today is gonna be the day that they're gonna throw it back to you. By now, you should have somehow realized what you gotta do. I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now. Backbeat, the word is on the street. All the roads we have to walk are winding. There are many things that I would like to say to you, but I don't know how. 'Cause maybe